Hey guys, this is Bonnie Barker from Bonnie Bay Crochet, and I've just beamed down to planet Earth to show you how to make tribbles. I think you're going to really love these because these tribbles are no trouble at all. And one thing wonderful about them, they smell like lavender. How did I do that? And you know what? These are going to be very helpful tribbles that are going to help you. Let me show you. Those of you may have these wonderful yarn boxes with all this luscious, delicious yarn that carpet beetles and moths love to eat. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna put a lavender tribble, bloop, in there, and it's going to chase them all away. Well, let me go ahead and show you what you're gonna need. Scotty, could you please beam down to me the things I'm gonna need for this project? Thank you. Okay, so for this project, I'm going to be using, for the demonstration, Lion Brand's Go for Faux yarn. This is a super bulky or number 6, and just give you an idea what this looks like. It's amazing to work with. This is 100% polyester. This color that I'm using is Pomeranian. Of course, you can use any color that you wish to make your tribbles. This particular skein has 65 yards. Or 60 meters, 3.5 ounces. You can also use Hobby Lobby's Yarn Bee fur yarn, which is also a very good substitute. This is in the color Husky. Again, 62 yards for this skein, very economically priced, 100% polyester. You will also need a crochet hook, size K or 10.5, 6.50 millimeter. I'm also recommending that you have a sharp pair of scissors. You're not going to need a yarn needle this time because we're going to hide the fur strands within the project. It's not going to be a problem. Now you do have 2 options for completing the tribbles. If you just want a plain, fun, furry little fella, you can just fill with some fiberfill. You can just get that at your local craft store, or you can even use a soft rag or something to stuff inside, or even some leftover yarn scraps would work. Now I'm going to also suggest another possibility, and that is you can make these sachets for your clothing drawers. This works very well. I use the lavender because it is a natural pesticide against moths and carpet beetles, which are 2 enemies of fine fibers. And what I did to prepare beforehand, I have some rice. This is 3/4 cup rice, and I put about 8 drops of the lavender oil into the rice. I've mixed it up with the spoon. I let it sit overnight so that it could dry, which allows the rice to absorb the oil, but make sure that you do mix it in well. And so what I am going to do for my tribbles is I'm going to fill an old sock. This is a clean sock, very important, but a sock that I no longer need. I'm going to fill the sock, and I will show you how to do that at the end. Fill it with the rice, the scented rice, and tie it off with a, let me get the string here, tie it off with a piece of yarn. And I'm actually going to cut part of this sock, so I'm not going to use all of it. So I will show that to you towards the end. But this is an excellent option for people who have winter, wool sweaters, or you just want to freshen up your clothes. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. To begin, I'm going to start with a slip knot. And be gentle when you pull on this yarn. You don't want to pull it too hard because it can break. Okay, I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as you can see, it's almost impossible to see the stitches, but you should be able to feel with your finger where that first stitch is. Okay, so use the nerve endings in your thumb and tall man finger to try to find where that hook is. And there it goes. And go ahead and work a slip stitch, and again using your the feelers, you can see where the center of this circle is. Go ahead and chain 2, and we're going to work 10 double crochets into the center. Now I'm feeling this with my fingers. I know it's impossible to see. So that's 2, 3, and as I go around, I am crocheting on top of the loose strand as well. Okay. That way it's going to be very easy to just clip. I don't have to worry about hiding anything with a yarn needle. You're not going to need to worry about that with this fur anyway. Okay, so let's go ahead until we get 10 double crochets. Let's see if I can feel them. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you need 2 more. 9, and that's 10. And I'm going to go ahead and just trim this little tail right there. Now it's gone. I don't have to worry about hiding it. Now I'm going to join to the first stitch. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke my finger through here. This is where the chain 2 is, and this is where the first stitch is. So I'm just going to put my hook right in there and do a slip stitch. It really doesn't matter if we turn or not, but I'm going to go ahead and turn, chain 2. And now what we're going to do is we are not going to try to find the top loops of these stitches at all. That would be downright impossible. But what we are going to do is we are going to crochet in between the stitches. So I'll put my 2 fingers in there, and in between my fingers is a stitch. Okay, so we're not going to work in through the top loop, but we're going to work in the spaces in between the stitch. Just working double crochets. 1, 2, 3. We're just going to work around, and 4. Make sure I don't leave a big hole there. And 5. Find the space. And 6. Find the next space. 7. Find the next space. 8. 9. 10. And we're going to work an additional one, okay, right here where we joined, where we started. So we're going to have 11 in this row, and that's our round rather. And find out where that next space is. Go ahead and do a slip stitch. I'm going to chain 2. I'm not going to turn at the end of this round. Again, you can turn if you want. It really doesn't matter. The result will be the same. So let's go ahead and do this one more time. Working double crochets in between the stitches. That's 2, 3, 4. I'll go ahead and count around, and I will meet you at the next join. Okay, after working those 11 stitches around, let's go ahead and do one more in the same place where the chain was made. That's 12, and then slip stitch to join. And let's do this one more time. Okay, so this is what we have so far. We are literally halfway there, folks. This is how fast these work up. So let's go around one more time, working double crochets in between those stitches. Okay, so I'll meet you at the join at the end of this row. At the end of this round, I worked 12 stitches. I'm not going to add an extra one. We're just going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch, and now we are going to begin working our decreases. But before we do that, let's go ahead and prepare our sock with our rice. So now we need to fill this sock up, so we need to hold this open, and I'm going to put roughly about 1/4 cup inside. There we go. I can put a little bit more because some of that spilled out. Okay, there we go. So that should be plenty enough. And I'm going to tie the sock with a leftover piece of string. You don't want the rice to leak out. Don't want our tribbles to make a mess in our drawers. We just want them to keep all the pests away, which this will do. And I will say one thing, there is an article in the video description below if you want to read more on this. But before you put these in to protect your clothing, you do need to make sure that your clothing is clean, clean of all larvae and, you know, food particles and things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this into what we are working on. Let's move this out of the way so I don't spill it. Although it would be a very nice smelling spill. Okay, so I'm going to stick this inside the tribble. Actually, I'm going to wait till the next round. I think we can do one more round. So this round we are going to chain 2, and we're going to work a double crochet decrease. And the way we do this is we're going to wrap the hook, stick it in between those next stitches, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and do this again. Yarn over in between the next loops there, in between the next stitches, and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 3. That's a decrease. And then we work a double crochet in between the next 2 stitches. And let's do another decrease. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then do that in the next stitch. Yarn over, pull through all 3 for that decrease. And then a double crochet in the next stitch. This is closing it up a little bit smaller, and then another decrease. Worked over the spaces in those 2 stitches, and then a double crochet in the next space. And let's do another double crochet decrease, and then a double crochet in the next space. And we're just going to work a double crochet in the next space as well, the same where the chain 2 is, and then join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. And so now I think we'll have a big enough space. Let's go ahead and stick our sock with our lavender rice inside there. Ah, that is perfect. Okay. Now, if you don't want to put lavender inside your tribble, you just want to put some fiberfill. That makes an excellent choice as well, and makes a great little fun toy for a child, especially a Trekkie fan who knows what a tribble is and just how much fun they can be. Okay, and no matter what you stuff inside, when you are ready to seal up the end, we're just going to work another round of decreases. And if you want to make your tribble longer, bigger, whatever, you know, just don't begin the decreases until the very end. And if you want your tribbles to be really big, you can just add more stitches at the very beginning of this of row 1. So these are very flexible, a lot of fun, and definitely feel free to modify them, especially if you're going to be, you know, giving them. Let's try another hole there. If you're going to be giving them as gifts, you know, it's according to protocol to have differing sizes and different colors, because they are many varieties. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. Now I'm going to join with a slip stitch, and I'm going to give it a chain and a tug. Now I'm going to cut a generous amount, just like that, and I'm going to pull this up like that. Now, I didn't think I was going to use this yarn needle, but I am going to use it to finish this little guy off, or little girl off. Actually, I have to do my Star Trek lore, and we'll learn more about those. I'll post a link in the video description below so that you can understand. I think that they are neither male nor female, now that I think about it. Okay, let's get that in there. Yes, it is possible to thread the fur into these yarn needles, it's just not easy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go in and out the window, in and out of these stitches, which will pull the top of this tightly closed, just like so. And you don't want it to be too pronounced here on the end, so I'm going to try to tie this off by doing a gentle slip knot, just like this, which may not even be necessary, and you're not going to see it regardless. And I'm just going to pull it through a little bit, and you know what, I can go all the way through like this. Now if you put the rice lavender in the center, be careful that you don't go through the sock, because you could poke a hole in the sock and that would not be good. Okay, now we're going to trim this very carefully, and as you can see, it's gone. You're not going to see the end. You have, it's hard to see where I started and where I ended on this. Okay, so there you go. You have your little Tribble. Treat them kindly and be careful, because when you put them away in your sweater boxes, they just might multiply without you knowing it. Well, I hope you enjoyed making your Tribbles with me today. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. And if you could subscribe, that would be a blessing too. And oh yeah, the notification bell, if you can hit that, that'll make everybody happy here. Okay, well, God bless you guys. Bye. Ready to beam up, Scotty?